Hello, 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 everybody. Where do you come to get all your news? You already know the answer. Washington Informer, of course. I am so excited to be with you all on this thankful Thursday as we get to chat with Nicole Wandera, who is an amazing artist, mental health advocate, wellness advocate, mama. I probably should have started with that one, right? um,
Hi.
but I'm just so thankful to be with you today, Nicole. Thank you so much for being with us on Win TV and hanging out.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. And I'm in the office today. Normally I stream, and I just realized I got to get my artwork in my office
Oh yeah.
because normally I stream from home, and I'm like, I'm really embarrassed today with my lack of anything. But that's because you know what? We got to let the art shine. That is Nicole Wandera. Not only her beauty, but this gorgeous piece in the back. Thank
Oh
you.
yes.
Thank you. So before we get into the nitty gritty, you have to tell us a little bit about the work in the background, and then we'll get into all things Nicole.
Yeah, sure. This is a commission. It's inspired by Zora Neale Hurston. Their eyes are watching God. And I don't know if you see the mask over here, but that's actually a West African mask, Queen Ida. So just inspired by the movements of nature and life. And I believe like sometimes just watching the seasons change is kind of keeping your eyes on God's creations. So yeah, that's the inspiration behind that.
It's so beautiful, and it shares so many stories. And I just thank you for sharing it with us today.
Thank
Um,
you.
the geek in me, you know, off camera, but when you said Zora Neale Hurston, I started like shaking my
I
shoulder.
love Zora Neale Hurston.
I love her so much.
Yeah.
Um, but Nicole, we love you. Your work brings so much joy, and it's thought provoking. It's so beautiful and colorful. But there's also a message. There's a method behind your madness, if you will.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about, even before we get into your work, the
Mhm.
inspiration behind uh, being an artist. I know you can wear so many different hats, but what gets you getting your paintbrush every morning?
Just the beauty of existing itself. I honestly don't imagine another life where I'm not making art. I've always like once I was a kid, when you start painting as a child, you just don't stop. That was me. Um, yeah, so every time I pick up paintbrush, it's just the being in love with existing itself and being able to articulate the environment around me in color, being able to take my memories and synthesize them into an image that is profound and beautiful. And I just love it. That's the inspiration. It's the love. I mean, and it's tough getting onto a paintbrush as a mother of two.
I
So
get
I have to keep that passion. I have to always remember that passion to keep going.
the passion to keep going. I think that is a reminder that we all need, no matter what
Mhm.
world and career and passion that we are pursuing. Um,
Mhm.
tell us a little bit about your background, because I see in so much of your work, you're in sort of an inspiration of the continent of Africa. There's West Africa. I know that you are from Kenya, so I know that there must be some East African flair up in your work as well.
Mhm.
And then how, again, you use the word synthesize, and so how you're able to synthesize that with the stories from home and your homeland here in DC and in the
Mhm.
United States.
Yeah, so I'm originally from Nairobi, Kenya, and as you said, a lot of that is in my work because there's just so much richness and diversity for my culture. I feel very privileged to be able to tap into it. So I always try to connect that into my work because it's my lived experience. And I love the symbology. A lot of African mythology is involved. And the other reason why I use a lot of my African heritage is because we are traditionally oratory. A lot of our traditions are passed on through stories from one generation to the next. And I feel like the gift of having this visual medium is being able to take those stories and make something visual with it, as you see in the background. So when I'm trying to combine that experience with my lived experience here in America, it's kind of it's refreshing because it gives another perspective to the work, and also it allows me to be connected to my roots. And I find like a lot of people resonate and connect with that. And because the work is so rich with patterns and color, I find it's easier to discuss like difficult issues or things that not necessarily are easily palatable when it comes to art. Um, but yeah, so I'm from Africa. I moved here for college. I went to Pratt Institute. And then after that, I completed my education at Virginia Commonwealth as a Bachelor in Fine Arts. And my medium is mostly acrylic and mixed media. I experiment here and there, but mostly stick to acrylics.
And, again, I can't say enough about how you're able to share stories in your artwork. I know that's the point of art. We stories, but you not only are able to offer narratives, but get people to talk as well. And so, I know that this piece that we get to see in June at the Kennedy Center, Strange Fruit,
I'm so excited.
I'm so excited about that as well. In collaboration with the Gay Men's Chorus, this portraits series, which we're all very excited about at the Kennedy Center. Tell us a little bit about your piece, though. First of all, I also have to say, for all the folks that are wondering, Strange Fruit is the name of the piece, but it's so amazing because I know that we're talking mental health, and we're also talking music because June is Black Music Month. So
Yeah.
mental health awareness and June Black Music Month, perfect way to sort of, again, use your words, synthesize the two. But tell us about this piece.
Yeah, so Strange Fruit, the title is inspired by Nina Simone. I believe the original song was Billie Holiday. Um, and I was looking at it, the frame is, I was looking at the legacy of slavery and how that has contributed to intergenerational trauma and some of the mental health issues we experience today that my fellow brothers and sisters experience today. So I wanted to connect all those together, and that's how the title came about. And the image you see, I don't know if you have the image up here.
Let's see. Can we get it up, Chevry? I think Chevry might is trying to pull it up.
Okay.
Yeah,
But
that's
yeah, so the image has a person in reflection, sort of like in a prayer reflection mode, and they're covered in like markings, and there's a fruit. Their brain is sort of breaking up into this fruit. So it's that literal strange fruit translation, but also the seeds that have been planted that lead to self hate and uh, just questioning oneself that comes from racial trauma. So those were the fruits, that the seeds of the fruit from that seed. But at the same time, it's also the fruit of growth, taking something that is bitter and turning into something great that can feed you, that can propel you by seeking therapy and seeking help and connecting to loved ones, prayer and faith in self. So I wanted to connect all those together. And yeah, mental health is a very important issue to me. I think it's really important that we discuss these things more, especially coming from an African background. It's not necessarily something that is looked at as important or even considered when it comes to just checking on the general health of someone. So I thought this would be a very good painting to be able to sort of, synthesize those feelings. Um, it's cathartic in a way because it helps me sort of understand like the struggles that people go through, that I myself have gone through when trying to overcome trauma and trying to grow and trying to um, harvest the fruits of your own pain into something that will sustain you and take you further in the long run. So yeah.
I just have chills listening to the description, and I'm hoping we can get the piece up because it truly is beautiful. Um, Nicole, you tap into this narrative in such a powerful way. Can you tell me a little bit more about why the topic of mental health is
Mhm.
so incredibly important to you? And as
Mhm.
someone who is guilty of Instagram stalking Nicole, sort of internet stalking in general, know that
That's what
she
Instagram is for.
yeah, exactly. But I know that it's you really put a lot of emphasis into wellness in general. So,
Yeah.
why? What's a little bit of the story behind that?
Because it's important to take care of yourself and, love yourself a bit more. But most importantly, when I made this painting, the person in the painting is a very important person to me. He was my partner at some point, and he unfortunately did struggle with bipolar. And so, as his partner, I never really understood how to help him because, as I said, my background, we don't really discuss mental health. Um, Growing up, that wasn't something that was really important in my family. That wasn't something that we talked about. So I didn't have the context to be able to help. And most of us don't, that's just a general thing. Unless you're a professional and you've studied it, that's why it's important to go to therapy.
Yeah.
But my way of understanding heavy emotions and trying to siphon through them is to paint. So that's how I ended up creating this painting. And there's certain things that are happening in the painting that at that time I wanted to, and that's how to just show you how I translate it. So the painting itself is blues and oranges, and these are contrasting colors. And for me, it was a literal translation of having to deal with somebody who's going through those struggles, the ups and downs, the warmth and the cold. And at the same time, the patterns that I created with those colors are patterns that are traditional in my culture, that are markings used when a boy is becoming a man. So I wanted to see, like, what is it about this struggle that connects to that younger boy? And sometimes you'll find that it's a lot of childhood trauma that has manifested itself into something greater. And so while painting this and trying to understand the person, I guess I got more connected into the painting and started making it more about mental health because it's important. And I found like a lot of the situations we're in with especially the brothers and sisters, especially black men, like they don't like going to therapy, or rather it's not, I don't want to generalize that. There is rather a barrier between finding help,
Yeah.
and sometimes it's not just a personal barrier. Sometimes it's more than that. It's most of the time it's um, these like systems, medical systems that don't even have mental health care, or it's just too expensive. Or even if you do go for mental health care, even if you do have that money, the person who's helping you does not have that cultural context
Right.
because we don't have enough um, black women and black men as practitioners, unfortunately. So there's no cultural context to really understand where you're coming from. So I understand that there's so many barriers into seeking mental health that have nothing to do with the individual, but everything to do with the government, society, what is provided for us. But yeah, so all of that, I was trying to like deal with all that and try to make a painting that connects to all those aspects. And I think that's why it got into this competition, and that's why a lot of people resonate with that, because you can feel that from the painting. Well, I hope you do.
You certainly do. I mean, as I was listening to you, I'm thinking, how does one paint sort of the stages of traumas
Mm.
and then process your own uh,
Yeah.
trauma at the same time? I mean, the only way that you can do it is by pouring it into uh,
Yeah.
a very
Because it's
projective.
very physical.
It's very physical, and you see
Yeah.
that there's movement in the work. There's
Mhm.
um it's sort of in the way we, okay, Chevry, I see your message. Do you want to show it again? Absolutely. There's
Yeah.
movement in the work, there's boldness in the work, there's you know the sort of a sense of joy, while at the same time this struggle.
Mhm.
um and it's so incredibly beautiful, Nicole.
Thank you.
um
Yeah, I like to put both of those together. That's the goal, is trying to I like when somebody is battling with those emotions, or looking at that painting, the contrast of both, the happiness but also the pain and sadness in there, because it's like really bright,
yeah,
but
exactly.
it makes you come closer, and then the closer you look at it and the closer you see, you can see the struggle that someone has. And in general, that's how my partner was. Like, he was a very bright person, very energetic, but there was not really the in the background of that, there was also a lot of pain, and dealing with anxiety and depression and those traumas that we discussed earlier.
Yeah,
um, and there's no shame in also admitting to that. I think that's the key thing, is for it to be like, it can be beautiful in its way. If
absolutely.
you go and get the help that you need, it can be turned into fruits, and help, and make you a better person, and make you stronger and more resilient.
Absolutely. Is
Yeah.
anybody waiting for Nicole to announce that she has her PhD, some sort of
I
mental
wish.
therapy, mental health art therapy?
Well,
Uh,
I need to be able to afford daycare first. So
right? Exactly, exactly.
yeah.
You talked about a lot of issues: access to mental health care, um, uh, stigma in Black communities surrounding even getting help, and
Yeah.
particularly challenges Black men have. But I also know Nicole combats these challenges and stigmas in her work, in her momming, and all that you do. Tell us why you've taken on the wellness mantle and some of the things
Mhm.
that you do every day, in addition to art, to not only pursue your passion, but also spread wellness with others.
Because it makes life easier to live. That's just the general. It's really hard holding on to pain and trauma all the time, and it's very easy to let that take over you and take over your day-to-day activity, and take joy away from you for the simple things, like watching a sunset, or like smelling roses. And obviously, I'm saying that from somebody who's a single mom and has a lot of things that I'm struggling to deal with on a daily basis. It's hard to find the time to take care of yourself, but it's important to share that message and take a break, especially for a single mom. Like,
Yeah,
don't be afraid to have some self care. Don't feel guilty about it. But in general, art is in itself a form of therapy, because it allows us to dig deeper into our spirit, into our souls. Even if you're not necessarily like an artistic person, it's always good to engage with some visual something. Go outside, or go to a museum, go to like a library, write a book, I mean, write a poem, or write something down, or go for a show, because art is the closest thing, it's the closest language of the spirit. I really believe that, like, it just makes you feel more connected with yourself and the universe as a whole. I'm trying not to be too esoteric, but it really, there's just
no,
a
bring
magic.
it, bring it, bring it. I love it.
No, but it's just like there's a magic in there when you're able to create and or just engage in creativity. It's what makes us human at the end of the day, especially in this world where there's a lot of struggles. It's an election year, there's a war going on, there's environmental disaster impending. Things seem to be just getting worse and worse every day. It's important to take that time and just recognize your humanity. And for me, having this artistic practice helps me recognize that within myself.
Mm. Y'all, I am gonna just say that Dr. Nicole is
Oh,
preaching.
thank
Dr. McCoy says beautiful. I thank all of you for tuning in. Drop any comments or questions that you might have for Nicole. She can either get to them now or maybe even later. But last couple questions for you, Nicole, which is, you know, I know that it can't be easy as a mom, as a single mom, in particular, in this divisive world, pursuing your passion every day. What's some advice you have for aspiring artists to just get out there and do it?
If you have a message, make sure people hear it. Don't stop. And you will always find the time. I paint most of the time. I try to paint during the day, but it's going to be a night job kind of thing. But yeah, if you have the passion, you just have to do it. And my advice, it's gonna be hard. I don't have anything like very encouraging to say. It's gonna be hard, but she's gotta stick to what I really would like the message I'd like to put out there for artists is not necessarily about the artist, it's about the industry. I have been working for a very long time in this industry in both sides as an artist and also in the museum side. And unfortunately, this industry does not cater towards people who don't have like the monetary support and the background to be able to go for the shows, buy canvas, buy paint. So many times you have to consider, am I going to pay buy paint or am I going to pay bills? Because these are tough. So I hope that we have more grants for single mothers, have more exhibitions that are during the day, because I'm not going to come at 7 p.m. for your exhibition on Tuesday or artist talk on Tuesday, 7 p.m. Just more opportunities for people who have been faced with this barrier, um, because it allows for us to have, it enriches our culture and our society when we have different artists from different backgrounds and not just the status quo. And with that said, like if you're an artist right now, especially if you're in a place where it's not necessarily a disadvantage, but yeah, being a single mom and artist is not easy. Don't take it as something that is a you problem. Understand that yes, you have the passion, yes, you have the drive. Sometimes you're not going to be able to make it to that exhibition, but understand that that has nothing to do with you. That's just how the industry is. Like it is a place that needs to be made more accommodating. I'm very tired of going to an exhibition and there's like 800 men, and like maybe two Black women,
Mm,
um, or just not even any women. Or
right.
I do murals all the time. So going to do a mural and I'm the only woman or the only Black woman, like there, and I know so many talented Black women out there. So open up your spaces, art institutions, art galleries, open up your spaces for different artists of color, especially women. Um, and yeah, I think it'll be a better world with more of us in the space.
Thank you so much for bringing that up. I have to say, this whole year, the Association for the Study of African American Life and History, ASALA, the theme is African Americans in the Arts. And we have really been trying to be intentional about talking about making sure there are lanes and
Mhm.
spaces for Black people to do their art and pursue their passion. We
Yeah.
know African Americans and Black people around the world are contribute to culture,
Hmm.
not just any particular thing, but culture. And so let's open these spaces for Black
Yeah.
artists, Black women artists like
Yeah.
Nicole to
And not
come.
just because we're trying to, like, somebody got shot by a cop or it's Black History Month, because let's just be real, that's usually when they try to like pitch us in of, oh, it's Black History Month, let's look for a Black artist too, or there's people are protesting on the streets. No, invite us all the time. Yes, we are making our own tables. Yes, there are many Black galleries out there. Yes, we're creating spaces, but I think it would be better if all of us come together. And just to get even on this portraits project, for example, there's like 3 levels to it. So there's the painting, and then there is the choreography, and then there's the music. I am a Black African artist. The choreographer is Korean American, and the composer is a white man. And we have all come together, completely different backgrounds, and we've created something beautiful. So it comes to show you, having those different backgrounds, having those differences can create amazing things. If you're all just in a room together and talk, because at the end of the day, we all resonate on the same level. We're human beings, we love art, we love to create, and I think just different voices coming together will create a more beautiful song.
You are so poetic and
Thank you.
incredibly beautiful in all that you do. Nicole, you were going to, you answered my last question. It should
Oh.
come out on June 16th to portraits. But you answered that. So, just a little bit more of a tease for portraits. And how can we keep up with all things Nicole Wandera?
Oh yes, so I have my Instagram, Nicole Wandera Art. That's where I post most of my paintings. You also get snippets of my background, work in progress. So if you want to see how I build most of these things, it's a fun time there. The Portraits Project is obviously the Gaiman's Washington Choir website. You're going to find the portraits over there. And then the show on June 16th, which will be so exciting. It's the Kennedy Center. Please get your tickets. And it's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait to see it. It's going to be an experience of synesthesia, because you get to see how visual work can become sound and movement at the same time.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it.
I know.
Look, now we have to figure out how to get the taste buds involved, Kennedy Center. You know,
I know, I know. One day I'll have an exhibition. I had a dream about that the other day. Just like, oh, that'd be perfect.
yes. No, but I'm excited for this amazing artistic collaboration. I'm excited for the people to get to tap in again to all things Nicole Wandera and get a
Thank you.
beautiful, I think, glimpse into the mind that is your brilliance. And I can't wait. Guys, she said that this piece is only about 50% done behind her, but I think that goes to show you how brilliant she is. Because I'm like, I can't fathom or compute what else could be necessary. It's so beautiful and perfect.
Thank
Um,
you.
Nicole, this has been such a treat. We knew this before that we were going to probably talk for 30 minutes. I'm glad I'm glad that you all have been rocking out with us as we do. Um, please, 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 Nicole, come back and see us on Win TV and all things
Yes,
Washington.
I will.
We are just so proud of you and so inspired by your work, your
Thank you
story.
so much for inviting me.
Thank you. And as always, folks, thanks for tuning in. We appreciate you. Go ahead and if you haven't subscribed, subscribe on WashingtonInformer.com. Follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, all of the things. That way you can tap into all that we have coming for you, the news that you can use. Take care, everybody, and have a wonderful, thankful Thursday. Oh, and y'all will see me again in about 15 minutes with Michelle Fallon from Children of the Gospel. So, I hope you're not too tired of me. Totally different conversation, another Black Girl Magic moment, talking with an artist, so you don't want to miss it. Thank you, everybody. Thank you,
Thank
Nicole.
you. Bye.